Hey, vinyl community, and welcome YouTubers from everywhere. This is my contest entry for Steve Carlson, his 1,000 subscribers contest. I'll put a link down below to Steve's channel. It's great. You need to watch it if you're not already a viewer. His contest is show your 5 go-to albums. Doesn't necessarily mean your 5 favorite or whatever. Sounds like an easy deal, doesn't it? No, it's not that easy, because I think I'm the oldest member of the vinyl community, I think, that's making videos. In here about 6 weeks, I'll be 78 years old. Well, your go-to albums change over time, don't they? They change daily. Your 5 favorite albums today may be different than they were a week ago. So I'm going to show a few extras, and I'm going to skip a little bit of the time periods. But I got my music adventure started around 1954, 1955. So there's lots of changes over time. One of the first LPs I ever got, I think this was from around 1955. Was just a dollar record back at the time. I still have it. This is not one of your go-to albums. This is just a sentimental album. Who was my go-to guy in the rock and roll era, the classic rock and roll era? Little Richard. I don't know that I ever had this album then, but I had pretty much all the 45s, and I still have those 45s that I bought in the 1950s. I've shown them before. Probably my second go-to band in the 1950s. Didn't have this record then. This is a later compilation, but I just pulled a few things that are quick and easy to find to show. Bill Haley and the Comets. I love to dance. Do the Texas Bop. Little Richard and Bill Haley, those were great things to dance to. Some years later, but I saw Bill Haley and the Comets live. I saw Fats Domino live. I saw the Platters live. Platters were another of my favorites from the 1950s, but I had a lot of favorites back then. Shown this record a number of times. Elvis's second album. This is the original copy I bought in 56 or 7 when this came out. Another one of my favorites in the 50s, Brenda Lee. I saw Brenda Lee live when she was about 14 or 15 years old at a little rural county fair in Kansas. She was the featured performer, standing up on an outdoor stage in the summertime, and I always remember her singing Alexander's Ragtime Band. Of course, lots of people have had this favorite. This is a recent music on vinyl, but I was a big fan of Fats Domino. Saw Fats Domino live. Another one of my favorites from that time period, Patsy Cline. I saw Patsy Cline live probably 56 or 57 before she got famous. In those days, you didn't have concerts, you had dances. So Patsy Cline standing up on a stage in the middle of the room, and I go dancing by her. I could have reached out and touched her dress. So that was an experience, and I still love the Patsy Cline music today. Now, the show that Ricky Nelson was on, that was a great show in the latter 50s. I watched that TV show all the time to see Ricky Nelson sing a song and try to convert my parents who would watch Ozzy and Harriet. Hey, this new rock and roll stuff's not too bad. So there's a few of the go-tos from my childhood, and onward we go. In the interest of keeping this video from getting too long, there are so many videos out there. Now I'm going to skip the 60s. Yep, I was buying records and listening to music in the 60s. But in the 70s, one of my all-time favorite records, Randy Newman Live. I've listened to this so many times. Still one of my all-time favorite records. One of my other favorite records from the 1970s, Bonnie Raitt's first album. Again, I got a lot of records in my favorite top 10. Too many, so you probably have to do a top 100 like Steve's doing. One of my all-time favorite records. Another record that's way better than you guys think it is. It's not just the one song. I love Maria Muldaur. Another one of my favorite go-tos from 1970. Ry Cooder, Chicken Skin Music. I've been a fan of his from day one and still get everything he does. So there's some go-tos from the 70s. Music has been a big part of my life almost from the beginning, and I've listened to a lot of stuff, as you folks know, but in maybe the 80s and the 90s, yeah, I listened to some of what you were listening to, but what I was really into was Jelly Roll Morton, the most important musician there's ever been that people don't know very much about, and half the people probably don't even recognize his name. Another one of my favorites, Bessie Smith. Now, it's not just Bessie Smith, it's modern groups that do the classic women blues songs that I like. So I've been a lot into that kind of music, and in that line, the Broadway show, me and Bessie, Linda Hopkins, performing Broadway stage as Bessie. One of the musical highlights of my life. And I'm a piano guy, one of the greatest pianists in the modern era, Morton Gunnar Larson. I told him he was Jelly Roll Morton reincarnated, and he didn't argue with me, and just a little bit of what I was really into in the 80s and 90s, and probably longer time period than that. Video, time travel. Hey, we're up to 2019 already. I might say right now this is my go-to stack. See this row right here? Except for a few in the very back. These are all current records that came out this year, and I will be talking about into my top records of the year when I get to it. So you flip through a lot of these, you know, you get all these records. Clear on back into here. Takes a lot of time to listen to all them records a few times and process them in your head. So my go-to music, to a certain extent, is listening to new music. But hey, I know you're all waiting to hear 5 of my current favorites as of today. Yeah, like most of you, 5 go-to favorite albums. Probably have trouble narrowing that down to 100. I spent a little time over a few days thinking about this, and I made a few notes, and I just decided going to grab a few things that jump out on me when I flip through the thing. Of course, as you've all heard before, St. Vincent Mass Education, the record probably I've listened to more than any other in my collection since I got this record. I love this record. It's recently new to me, Gillian Welch. Harvest and the Harrow, or whatever the name of this album is. Love the music, love the Sonics. You also aren't surprised by this. One of the records I've listened to since I've had it. Got originally the CD, then later it come out on vinyl. Listened to this record many times. One of my favorites. And his other record also. When I got back into vinyl and got a good system going, one of the first records I got, Dean Martin, Dream with Dean. This is the double LP, 45 RPM, remastered. I love this record. I'm not a big fan of male vocals. Dean Martin was always one of my favorites. And this is a record I've listened to many times. I got it on this. I have the high-res download, so if I'm too lazy to play the record, I can listen to it that way. A friend years ago gave me a CD burn of a copy of his CD of something I was not familiar with. This again's audiophile reissue of Louis and Ella. They did 2 records, but this was the first one and is way better than the second one. And this is just a classic. Of course, love Ella, love Louis, and just another fantastic record. So that's my 5 go-to records as of right now. They'll probably be different by tomorrow. And hey, that's Steve Carlson. He's got a great channel. Get over there and check it out. And I'm waiting to see what all of you guys' 5 favorites are, 5 go-to albums. So keep them spinning. and see you all down the trail.
Happy trails to you until